Hey artists, we're making these awesome 3D textured flower vases. Follow along with me and I'll show you all the steps to create your own.
All right, to get started, we've got our piece of cardboard. Make sure you get your name on the back of that. I'm gonna choose a cool color for the background. I chose green, but you will be able to choose any color you would like. We're also gonna get a half sheet of like a neutral color, a brown or a tan, something that's going to represent the table. The first thing we want to do is add some color and texture so we don't just have this plain paper. So I'm just going to set that to the side and grab some oil pastels. We've got our warm colors, our cool colors, and our neutral colors. For the background here, we're going to want to add some cool colors. I'm just going to take this oil pastel on the side and just add in some texture to make this paper more interesting. So there's lots of colors in here. I like to find the ones without the paper and just kind of go on the side to add some cool textures, but you could also take the ones with the paper and just kind of add whatever color line design you would like with your cool colors. So this is going to be the background of my picture, kind of like the whatever's in the back, if it's a wall or if we're picturing this flower pot sitting outside on a table or a shelf. Maybe this is just the outdoors. I'm gonna dig around in here, see if there's any other colors I'd like to add. I have this very neon yellowish color. I might add just some swirly lines of this around. And once you're satisfied with your texture for this page, then we can start working on the table or shelf that we're imagining underneath. All right, I think that's looking pretty neat. We've got lots of different color and texture with our cool colors on our cool color paper. Once you're satisfied with that, you are going to glue that to your cardboard. We don't want this to really bump up a lot, so we're going to go a very, very thin line of glue, leaving a little space because when we push down, that glue will push out. We don't want it to get out of the sides and all over our hands. And I might just put a few dots to make sure it's tacked down in the center. Going to take that paper and flip it over. So that is going to be even with the top of the cardboard. I don't want to get oil pastel all over my hand. I will just go like this on the back to really get that glue pushed down. Perfect. Flip that over. That's looking great for the base of this project. I'm going to set that to the side and work on my neutral piece of paper that's going to represent the table or the shelf where this is sitting. So I can work with some grays, just adding some texture here. I could add some browns. Even some orange could look cool on our little table. If you wanted to draw like some wood grain, the little lines you see in the wood, you could do that as well. It's really up to you. How you want to decorate your shelf or table, whatever we imagine this piece to be. Once you're satisfied with adding that color and texture to spice up that paper, we're going to add that to the bottom part. Again, putting the glue on the smaller piece, a very thin line around the edge, some dots to make sure it gets tacked down in the center, and put that onto your picture. All right, now I've got a background. I've got my table piece and I'm ready to work on the vase. We have a lot of already textured papers. I believe these are old pieces of wallpaper samples. You could use old paper bag. You could add texture to some paper that you already have. We just have this in the classroom, so this is what we are going to use. We're gonna flip this over. And we want to keep this as large as we can. So I'm going to, just with the oil pastel, draw a vase shape. So I'm going to do kind of the curve line here. And there's lots of different vase shapes you could do. This is just what I'm choosing. So I'm going to have it come up like this. And just have that kind of shape. And then I'm going to cut it out and see how it fits. If it seems too tall for me, I can always adjust that. So with your scissors, you're going to carefully cut out your vase. And we drew on the back, so the front will be nice and smooth looking without any lines. It's got kind of a crunchy texture, so it's a little more difficult to cut. But it's gonna add so much dimension to our picture. Oh wow, that looks awesome. So I don't think that's too tall. I will have some of the flowers kind of tumbling out of the vase and being down here, so I am satisfied with that. If you're not satisfied, you could always just shorten it a little by chopping down the bottom there, and now you have a shorter vase. I need to even that out. Okay, perfect. Using your glue, again, around the edge with a thin line, and then a few dots in the center. Perfect. I'm gonna flip that over. Put the vase down onto the table with your awesome background in the middle. We are off to a great start. And now we can start working on the exciting part, which are the flowers with the clay. All right, you want to just cut the top off of this to get this open. And this is where you get to be really creative. Get all that model magic out of there. I like to take it and cut it into smaller pieces. And I might even cut those smaller. You can also tear it. It's really up to you. But I feel like this is where we get to be really creative. There's so many different shapes we could be making for our flowers. So maybe you'll start with a round center. You can just push it right onto your page. And then maybe you're going to want to make some smaller petals. You could have round petals. You could make them, you can just use your fingers to kind of push them into different shapes. Whoa. And just start putting those on there. So this could be one way that you're putting a flower together. Just kind of rolling and making those different shapes for the petals. You could also take it and roll it into a long skinny coil. And I've seen people doing this to kind of get that rose shape. And they kind of flatten that out. So it's like you're kind of squeezing your coil and layering it. And that can give you kind of a rose shape. That's looking pretty. You might make some different petals to go behind that as well. So any kind of flowers you want. It doesn't need to be limited to the traditional Van Gogh inspired sunflower. You could put any flowers in your bouquet. So I'm just kind of squishing some of these flat, and it's adding to that rose shape. That's really coming along. So rolling, pinching pieces flat, adding them right there kind of gives me that rose shape. And I can put that. You could have it above, you could have it kind of coming down, or whatever you would like to place your flowers. And you're just going to keep creating flowers and also some leaves. So maybe you'll have a leaf down here. And model magic is fun because you can add different texture just by pushing with different tools. All right, I'm going to keep adding to these clay flowers. All right, I started adding a third flower. And for this one, I just made kind of a little center, and then I'm taking a round piece and just almost like I did with the leaf, and putting these on here. And then you could take some little tiny coils and make the center of the flower have a little more texture. Which I think is looking pretty cool. Just adding that extra texture in the center. We can also use a wood stylus, and you could add like the seeds to the center of the sunflower. You could add some texture to the petals. And I saw one that I really liked where someone had taken a coil and had it kind of just falling down out of the vase like this. And then they had some little round flowers, like little purple flowers kind of down here. So you can be really creative, just any kind of flowers you would like to make. Remember that this also works really well with scissors. So you can take the scissors and you could shape the petals using the scissors, or you could make some little pieces to be coming down from the plant. So we're just going to keep adding until we run out of clay. We can add more leaves, more flowers, more vines coming out until we're satisfied and we've used up our clay. All right, just been adding some more leaves and flowers, whatever you're thinking. You might do all sunflowers, you might do all roses, you might do a variety. One thing I wanted to share is if you take the Model Magic and you make a coil, and then you flatten it. And then you roll it. It kind of makes a little lily shape. And that's kind of another fun flower you could put on. And I think that's going to be my final piece. And then I'll be ready to get out the tempera paint and begin painting the flowers, the leaves, and something else we could be doing is adding some stems if we want, or some additional leaves and things coming down. So we're going to go ahead and grab that tempera paint. All right, now all of the flowers and leaves are placed. And we're going to go ahead and add color to those with our tempera paint. I've got water to wash the brush and a sponge to kind of dry off the brush in between colors. So if I'm doing a traditional sunflower, I know this is going to have the brown color in the center. And you're just going to go around and add that tempera paint as you like. I'm going to wash my brush clean. And then I'm just going to tap on the sponge so I don't have extra water in the tempera. I'm gonna just go ahead and start adding color to all of the flowers. And the great thing about tempera is we can layer it, so you could put this yellow down, and then you could always take a little bit of orange and blend. So you could kind of blend it up and make these really beautiful. I'm gonna wash my brush clean, tap over here. These are looking amazing already. So I'm gonna go ahead and add color to all the flowers and also to all the leaves and stems I created with the Model Magic clay. All right, I got color put on all of the leaves and flowers, which really shows that amazing texture. And now I can just use the paint for any other things that I'd like to. Like I might take some of the yellow and make like a little stem, or I might use green. Since my paper's green, I thought maybe yellow would show up best. But that is just kind of your choice. If you want to add some extra leaves, you can. And just any other little details you wanted to add. Maybe I'll have some little green coming out of here. Something else you might want to do is you could take a little bit of a darker shade and you could add like a little shadow underneath your vase if you like. I just took a little bit of brown, made a little shadow. I could take some purple here and I could just put a little texture onto my vase. And just anything else you want to add as just a finishing touch. And then we will be all done with these beautiful 3D flower vases inspired by Vincent van Gogh. Let's see. I think it's looking pretty amazing. All right, I think that is one finished picture. I cannot wait to see the beautiful textured flower pots that you create.